I want to say good afternoon to the Honorable Senator and former Minister of Sports, Anil Roberts. Welcome to the Future of Talk on the Street 919 FM. Good afternoon to you, sir. On the PNS.
Well, I don't think he's hearing us yet, so let's make sure that he's hearing us. All right? Let's make sure that we are up and running. Oh, yeah, so that's unmute. Good afternoon, Mr. Roberts.
Good afternoon, my brother Heavy. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. What's up?
I am good.
Right, so we're going straight in. I heard your interview. I had the privilege of listening to your interview on my goodly friend Stephon Reeves show on the Breaking Dawn on a morning. And you said some things there that I never knew. And I think it's vital information, and I think the people who listen to our show here on the afternoon needs to know about what really going on with one sports in Trinidad and why our Olympic team did so horribly in this year's Olympics in France. So I know you have a wealth of information, being the former Minister of Sports and also a coach and also a man who went to several Olympics, and then you hosted this Olympics in Jamaica. So I know you was there front and center on the firing line, listening, watching and observing, and you have all the information. So I'll leave the floor open to you now. So let us know what really went on and why.
Well, Heavy boy, I don't know if I want to give you 2 hours, but let me try my best, okay, my brother? Let me start at the basics. Why is sport so important? Why is sport so powerful? Why are the Olympic Games so critical to so many countries? Why do major countries invest so much money, science, knowledge, brain power, effort, passion, patriotism into high-performance sport? It's very simple. Sport espouses who you are, your culture, your people, your brilliance. It shows the world what you're about. It advertises your country. It gets people interested in your country. It gets into the minds of the entire globe. So much so that some countries even go as far to present a powerful image of their politics, of their leadership, of their political system, of their society, that they would systematically and systemically cheat in order to win medals at the Olympics. For example, back in the 70s and 80s with the East Germans, you would have seen, remember, some young people may not even know that Germany consisted of East Germany, a communist country, and West Germany. The East Germans had a plan which was as secret as their nuclear defense. Second most secret plan to show the world the power of socialism and communism through enhancement and performance in elite sport to show their superiority over politics and democracy and so on. The East Germans, if you would recall, back in 1972, in swimming, for example, in the female version, out of 12 or 13 gold medals, they won nearly 95%. They won 12 out of 13 gold medals with an East German swimmer called Cornelia Ender. Now, all of these medals were tainted because when the wall fell, the Berlin Wall fell in 1989 after global pressure, the truth came out that East Germany was systematically doping using steroids, growth hormone, and other enhancement drugs, EPO, and so on, in their athletes throughout, whether track and field, cycling, swimming, in order to present a picture of domination and strength of their political system. When the wall fell down, these East German doctors who had a wealth of knowledge in enhancing human performance went over to China. And in swimming, for example, China, who was never known to produce any swimmers, who had no technical knowledge, no coaching ability in swimming, In 1994, a mere 5 years later, the Chinese in Rome at the World Long Course Championships in the women's events won nearly every single gold medal on offer, 12 out of 13, and broke 8 world records. The only gold medal they lost was to the German Franziska van Armsik from lane 8, who broke a world record in the 200 freestyle to win. In Sochi, in the Winter Olympics of 2016, Russia, you can all check out a documentary on Netflix about the situation. This is why Russian athletes are banned and the flag of Russia did not fly in the 2024 Olympics. In the Sochi Olympics, in the drug testing area, the KGB, the secret police of Russia, set up a private room with a little hole down at the bottom where samples of Russian skiers, downhill and so on, where they took them. When you go to drug tests, you take 2 samples, 2 bottles, a A sample and a B sample. And when the athlete is finished pouring the urine in, they lock it. These bottles cannot be opened. The Russians, the KGB devised a tool that could unlock and open these bottles. They were pushed into a room where the KGB was. The tainted urine was poured out, and new, fresh, clean urine was poured in. The whole story came out, and Russia is now banned from flying the flag at Olympic and World Championship competitions. I say this to you to let you know how important sport is. So when you see the country of Trinidad and Tobago absolutely depressed by possibly the worst performance in our nation's history, we first got up on the medal podium in 1948 with a man from South, a young, strong Afro-Trinbagonian called Rodney Wilkes, who used to train in the cane fields, lifting up bushels of sugar cane and so on, who trained himself in powerlifting with speed, with brilliance, with technique to win a bronze in 1948 and a silver in 1952 along with Lennox Kilgore. That is where Trinidad and Tobago started to make a mark for ourselves in the world. We then followed up with McDonald Bailey, who was not selected for Trinidad and Tobago, but was a Trinidadian and Tobagonian born, bred in the 100 and 200 meters, but represented the British Empire in 1952, winning medals. We remember our 4x400 relay in the 1964 Olympics, Ken Bernard, Ed Skinner, Ed Roberts, and Wendell Motley. They also broke the world record in 1966 in Jamaica, in the Kingston Stadium, the National Stadium, the 4x40, 440 relay. So we moved on into 1976, gold medal, Hazley Crawford. 1996, you had Atto Bolden with 2 bronze medals, being the fastest man, but just getting a little bit angry at some false starts in the final, costing him the gold medal. That went to Donovan Bailey of Canada and Frankie Fredericks. 2000, you had Atto Bolden, silver, bronze. 2004, George Bovell, coached by myself in one of the greatest swims in history, getting a bronze medal behind perennial great, the greatest swimmer of all time, Michael Phelps and Ryan Lochte. And you move on to Richard Thompson and the relay in Beijing behind Bolt in 2008. In 2012, when I was minister, the most successful Olympics in our history, we got 1 gold, 1 silver, well, a bronze which turned out to be silver because a team was disqualified because of drug cheating. So a gold, a silver, and 2 bronze medals. We had over 30 to 35 athletes, 11 finalists in 6 different sports, including swimming, boxing, cycling, sailing, and track and field, and so on. And then we finally got 1 bronze medal from Keshawn Walcott in 2016. Since then, we have been total abject failures. In 2021, in the Tokyo Olympics that were crowdless because of COVID, we got not a medal. And now again, 3 years later, we've gone to Paris with 16 athletes and 17 officials and come back without a medal, with 1 great run from Jareem Richards that could have brought a medal. He gave it his all and he inspired the nation, a brilliant run. and Keshawn Walcott in the javelin. It was a woeful performance from the pool onto the track, onto the cycling track. Trinidad and Tobago, we are left in pain. We are left hurt. We are left embarrassed, because this is the message that you get to send to the world to show your greatness. Politics aside, sport unites a country like never before.
Yes, yes.
Who can remember 2005 in Bahrain, in November 2005,
yes,
when
boy.
Trinidad and Tobago qualified, beating Bahrain, when Dwight York took that corner and Torres just got up and headed past in Bahrain to send Trinidad and Tobago to the 2006 World Cup. India and Africa and mix up, Douglas, Chinese, Syrian, Spanish, everybody was celebrating because that's the power of sport. But the PNM does not understand sport. The PNM does not care about sport. Let me make my case and tell you why.
Tell us.
322,000 people voted for the PNM in 2020 election, for example. Understand this. They won an election by 2,620 votes in 2 seats, a slim majority. But the PNM under Keith Rowley could not find one human being who loved sport, who had a knowledge of sport, who was experienced in sport, who would go to cabinet and fight for resources for athletes, coaches, to maintain stadia, to encourage participation, to fight for resources for the children across Trinidad and Tobago. Keith Rowley, before that election, turned Shampa Kujo, a lady from Tobago, lovely lady. She looking better nowadays than she looked when she first got elected. But she does not like sport. She knows nothing about sport. She did not want the portfolio of sport. When Keith Rowley appointed her and moved her from tourism to sport, she said, when your own dog bites you, you're well bitten. The lady has no passion for sport. So you're telling me that out of all the PNM people, PNM has led this country for 52 years out of 66 years. You couldn't find somebody to fight for sport, to argue for sport. When you go in a cabinet heavy, the part and parcel of your portfolio, you represent that portfolio. You have to go into that cabinet and with cabinet notes. First of all, you have to have a passion and create ideas and concepts, and then you have to go in cabinet and argue with your colleagues for resources, why you should get resources for sport rather than somebody get money, because a zero-sum game, you only have so much money. So if you are the Minister of Works and Transport, you want to fix more road, you want to fix secondary road, you want to dig out drain, you want to put box drain, you want to dredge. But as the Minister of Sport, I want to get more coach education. I want to get more equipment for my children. I want to make sure the stadium maintained. I want to make sure the track is 1A certified so my athletes run. They could get qualification and world record. I want more money so my athletes could go abroad and meet competition to know where they're going, how they're going. That they could pay their coaches, they could pay their gym fees, they could eat better. But if you have a minister that the Prime Minister don't respect, the Prime Minister don't listen to, the Prime Minister knows nothing about sport, then you have immediately put sport at a disadvantage. So sport, after Darrell Smith left, now Darrell Smith knew a little bit about sport. He went to CIC, played some football and things, and he's been around sport. So that wasn't as bad. I mean, he's not passionate, he ain't understand, he ain't know the science, he ain't know how to produce elite sport. But all right, I could have taken maybe a little Darrell Smith, but I feel that leadership, you need people who are qualified, who understand what the job is. As a Minister of Health, you need somebody who has been in the system, a nurse, a doctor, someone who understands what people need from the time they come in, how to treat them comfortably, how to fill out form fast, how to get them service quickly, how to treat them nice, how to keep the place clean. You need a Minister of Health who has experience in the system. Not a man who can't pass a pharmacological exam, not a man who's just selling a pharmacy. That is why the health system is in a mess. The sports system is in a mess because Keith Rowley did not care about sport except his golf. He went and spent $4 million to fix half a golf course in Karnat. He only on the golf course. The only other sporting event he go to is CPL, when they could put him on camera and he could try to look good because it had crowd. Or when his nephew playing water polo, once he went down in the aquatic center. So sport starts off at a disadvantage. And then now, because the Minister of Sport has no rank in the cabinet, she is not Stuart Smallpin Young, she is not Rohan Sinanan, she is not Con Dwayne Inbot, she is not one of the power brokers inside of there. So she gets nothing. Rowley don't even tell her good morning. So the sport fraternity suffers. They cut funding. Let's talk about what they cut now. When I was there, I increased the NPI vote, which is the vote where national teams funding, where sporting federations, at that time they had 49 of them, where grassroots coaching clubs, where youth men get funding from equipment, code, anything they want. I increased that vote from 10 million a year to 150 million. I also took football out separate because football is a serious thing. Football is our national pastime. That and cricket deserve extra funding. So those were taken out of that, and special cabinet notes were done for football from age group, girls and boys, Anil, straight up to national senior team.
Anil, I wanted to go back to the 10 million to 150 million. I will explain to the public what that 10 million was for and why you raised it to 150 million. Explain to them what that money was for, because they need to know the details.
Right, that money was, for example, when sporting federations ask for the budget. So you may have swimming, you may have archery, drag racing, chess association, gymnastics, netball, football, cricket, coming down the line. They require funding for their national teams, their administration, their maintenance, their paying their staff, their coaches, for equipment and so on, and they request a certain amount of money.
Right.
Part of from that NPI vote, that comes out for all sporting federations, badminton, squash, and hockey, so on, basketball. Right. So that increased from 10 to 150 million. Also, in every nook and cranny of Trinidad and Tobago, you will know, they have a coach, somebody in an area who's take care of youths. Who's going to basketball court, take money out of their own pocket, pay youth men to eat community food after they run, or they play basketball, or they volleyball, or they play cricket or football. All of these community groups could have written the ministry for equipment, footballs, cones, nets, anything they want, basketball, shoes, socks, uniforms. If you're in an area and you're doing a sports day and you want medals and trophies and a little money to pay for tent and a DJ, if everybody wants evidence of this, back in 2012, I believe it was, the then Member of Parliament for Port of Spain, South, Marlene McDonald, she asked the Minister of Sport, which was me, a question which was, list all of the groups that have received funding from the Ministry of Sport and the sport company for a year, whatever year it was, 2011, right? So when we went, I went and get the permanent secretary and the CEO of the sport company, I say, hey, there's a serious question, I want a full answer. When I start to read out that answer, because obviously Marlene McDonald and the PNM, they like to push a kind of race politics. So what Marlene McDonald expected to hear was that Anil Roberts and the partnership and UNC was only helping out and giving funding to Indian in Kuva, Chaguanas, Barakpur, Princess Tong, coming down the line. But when I start to read out the support from groups all over this country, from Lansmitan down to Carnage, coming up Hague Street, straight up through Port of Spain, Mango Road, St. Paul Street, going up the East-West Corridor in Barataria, Mova, St. Joseph, up to Matplot, Toko, come down, end up in La Brea, across the Mayaro, Manzanilla. When I start to read out group after group, little NGO after NGO, after 20 minutes of me reading out each name of the group and how much they get, what they get, and so on, Marlene McDonald, who asked the question, jump up and say, Mr. Speaker, okay, that's enough, we'll take the rest in writing. Mr. Speaker, who was Wade Mark, look at me, I said, Mr. Speaker, not at all. The member for Port of Spain South asked a very important, critical question. I researched it, I got the information, and I want to respond to her, give her question the utmost respect and answer to the fullest. Answer for 45 minutes, and still I was only 2/3 of the way through.
Wow.
That's what that money is. That's when a minister is not lazy. my predecessors, Gary Hunt and Roger Boynes, used to send back. If the vote was 10 million, they used to only spend 5 million and send back to the consolidated fund 5 million. You want to know why? Because of pure unadulterated laziness.
Wow.
Every morning I will go in our ministry 5 o'clock and there'll be a stack of letters like this. And you'll go through from little clubs where there's RSSR and the beat them doing with 50 children and they want ball and so on.
Yeah,
or when it's in Damadio Mira, a sports day for children, they need medals and trophy and they want to pay a little DJ. And you go through and you just say, recommended permanent secretary, yes, recommended, and you go through a stack like this every day. That and all increased to 150 million. That spent out and still needed more.
Wow.
But when PNM came in September 2015, you know what they did?
What they did?
They took that vote right back down to previous annual levels, back down to 10 million. Then they put Champa.
Wow.
Now they continue to cut. They have other ways you spend money. I had hired 75 sports development officers to go out in the communities, and you know where you find talent? You just find talent in the at-risk communities, in the communities where the income levels are lower. That's where you find your national heroes. That's where the genetic ability is. That's where the mentally tough athletes are who are ready, because life is rough. Life is hard. They have a sort of where-it-all mentality, and they have a fight in them.
Yeah,
that way they find the real superstars.
Yeah, they find money to go inside a day to find them children so that they could represent the red, white, and black. Stand up on the block and beat people, beat the world, and bring joy to Trinidad and Tobago. PNM cut all that. They fire all these sports development officers. They stop the rural caravan. They stop the women in sport. They stopped the coach and science education. They cut funding to these primary schools. We wanted to put qualified primary school teachers and teach them how to coach and identify talent. They cut the maintenance. They cut the maintenance to recreation grounds. I did 89 recreation grounds, light them up and put running track and pavilion and so on for the children, the athletes, the people to play, train. We built all the facilities. The PNM also would charge people to use their own facilities. That's the policy of the PNM. The facilities that are built with taxpayer money belong to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. That's the belief of Kamala Prasad-Nisesa and myself. So therefore, when I came in for football matches and so on, I realized that schools had to pay under the PNM to use the Atto Bold and the Larry Gomes, the Manny Ramjohn and the Hasty Crawford Stadium and the Dwight York. I say, what madness is that? People had to pay to use their own thing. I cut all of that. The gyms, they didn't used to let people go in the gyms. I refurbished all the gyms in the stadium so that the citizens could go and exercise. So those who can't afford to go in a fancy gym and pay $300, $400 a month, they could go in their own gym paid for by the taxpayer dollars and exercise. All the facilities were left open under the UNC and the People Partnership. The PNM locked it up, and you have to know somebody to get inside there. These are all the reasons why sport is at its lowest ebb. So then you continue now. National teams. When you see you cut funding for national teams, netballer now have to do barbecue and curricue to go across. Hockey teams have to land on the same day and play matches for the last 8 years because there is no funding. You cannot perform at an elite level like that and not go into the Paris and so on and go to our competitions 4 or 5 days before, acclimatize, get a feel of the pitch, get a taste of the food, sleep if you go time zones, get your body to adjust, because they don't care about sport. They cut funding across the board. Even in Spirit of Sport Awards that I created there, because you know your First Citizens Award, they just award the best athletes. But my Spirit of Sport Awards that I created recognize grassroots coaches, teachers, school teachers, team coaches, massage therapists, doctors, people involved, media personnel, cameramen, sports reporters. They cut that and all. I had a facility there because in order to perform at the highest level, you have to understand where you come from and what you come. People have be amazed. Anil, you are no paper. How you remembering all them things just so, oh gosh, you're going back to 1948 and you're remembering time and so on. I could tell you in 1964, our 4x400 team, our 4x400 relay, which if you have to say in any Olympic sport, that we think. when you hear quarter mile, when you hear 400, you hear red and you feel red, white, and black because of our track record and our history in that event in 1964 in Tokyo. Them fellas went 3:05 in the morning in the heats in the relay. Would on a hard mondo track with old shoes with spiky nails on it and thing. You know what time our boys went there in 2024 with fancy track, fancy shoes that bouncing off with technology, science, and Nike and Adidas, and tight clothes that break down the resistance of the wind and so on.
Yeah.
3:06.73.
Wow.
Them went a second 0.73 slower than our representatives went with Motley anchoring in 1964, 5 years before I was born. And then Motley and them in the final got bronze in 3:01.17. Them beat we 2024 relay team by 5.6 seconds.
Wow, wow. Oh, Lord. Anil, I know we have a lot to say, but I want to just give you... Then we go to football quickly. What's the problem with football now?
Well, the problem, the same thing. And let me tell you something. PNM like the ball, politics is race, black man, India, all always the same. Look, I got Douglas here. I love my African Tobogonian father. I love my Indian sari wearing mother. But all the time when it comes politics, all you go here at PNM say, they can't say, hey, we did good in education. Look at SEA result, look at CAPE result, look at scholarships, look, we're the best. No. Hey, we did good in the health sector. Look at that. No babies dying. People could get medicine, oncology drug. No, they can't say that. Well, look at the energy sector. We did good. No, they can't say that because 11 companies go on, no steel plant, no refinery, 10,400 jobs per year lost, decimated. They can't say nothing that they perform. You know what they say? If you're black and you vote for anybody else, you're a traitor to your race, and they bring race.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me tell you something. Football in Trinidad and Tobago is a black man sport.
Yeah.
The last Indian I know who played at a high level was Danulal for Caledonia AIA. And when he break his foot on Joe Public, I had to rehab him. You had Bobby Sukrang and so on. Football is 92% young Afro-Trinbagonian boys. And the PNM that claims to love black people cut funding to football across the board.
Wow.
I was funding TTFA to about 25 million per year for national team, senior national team, women's national team, girls and boys national team from under 15 come up the road. Also, the TT Pro League.
What?
I was given under Kamla, the TT Pro League, $5 million a year for the administration to run the office and to make sure they have competitions and so on.
Is the TT Pro League still in existence? Is the TT Pro League still in existence?
Well, they call it some other name, but they have a pro league, but the funding moved from 15 to 20 million under Kamla Prasad Bisesa down to 3 million under PNM. And the competitions start and stop. They don't go, they don't know if they have. They used to have 4 full trophies every year, 2010, 2015, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. From 2016 coming down now, all the football competitions stop. The Super League nearly is non-existent. Football is dead and dying, and that's why we are not getting performance. Because when you don't pay your coaches, when you don't get looking for talent, when you don't get down on the ground and search and give opportunities, the colleges league now is only 2.5 months and scrambling. Everything in Trinidad and Tobago has gone through. This is not, you must also plan for success. If I want to win in the Olympics, I have to find an athlete with great genetic ability, solid parenting, support. I have to see that they have the mentality to take the work morning, lunchtime, evening. They have the potential. They have the ability to stay calm under pressure. They believe in their country. They know the history of the sport. They train hard. They eat well. They go in the gym. Then we go out there to perform. I have to plan for success. This failure in 2024 that we embarrass our flag, that I have to sit down in Jamaica with a set of Jamaicans and things. Them find the Olympics was not successful and them get 6 medals. Wow. Me I get a medal. And I have to sit down there as this proud Trini, this Trinbagonian, only listening to Jamaica there. Then see my St. Lucia, Juju get a gold and a silver. See Dominica, small population, 56,000 people, 60,000 people.
Yeah.
Don't mind when they come to vote in Dominica, the list has swelled to 72,000. I had to see them tail upon, jump a triple jump and get a goal and wear my medal, wear my flag. Wear my anthem.
Wow.
You know how that hurt me to sit down in Jamaica and take that pressure? PNM don't understand the embarrassment that they give to the people and citizens of this country, and then nobody resign. Champa come to say she spend money. It takes more than money to bring medals. It takes passion, it takes love, it takes care, it takes coaches, it takes science, it takes education, it takes spirit, it takes heart. You have to want to be the minister.
Wow. So Anil, before we leave, I wanted to touch on this, and I needed to touch on this. Tell the Trinidad and Tobago how important sport tourism is for our country.
Oh Lord, when sport tourism, you know, I could talk that for 20 minutes. Sport tourism is one of the ways to diversify the economy. Understand that when we built the aquatic center and the cycling velodrome, and I put it down there by the Atto Bolden football and track and field stadium with the cricket center, then a BMX Olympics park was to come. That was to first and foremost promote a sport area there through sport tourism in the winter months, when people cannot train in Canada, North America, when it gets cold in Europe. They could come down to sweet Trinidad and Tobago, stay in hotel, come there, use the facilities, train for an average of 14, 15 days. Every 10,000 visitors for sport that we would have gotten per year would have increased the GDP by $1 billion. Plus the mind share and the market share. When people come to train, they would have learned and see the music. They will learn about carnival. They will taste the doubles and the palau and the corn soup. They will see Tobago. They will know the beaches. And they will return for their honeymoon or their holiday and so on. And it will continue to generate. We were going to make sports ambassadors of all our children who are out there in foreign universities, to give them a percentage, to make them sales agents of Trinidad and Tobago. So every team that they got from the university to come and train at the tennis center or the cycling velodrome or the aquatic center, that they would have gotten a commission. If there were 20 people coming, spending 10 days and so on, they would have gotten a commission. So we would have been out there selling Trinidad and Tobago. PNM in charge 9 years, and them now asking and trying to do a master plan for sports tourism. Wow. While they decimate the energy sector, they decimate agriculture, and we can't get US. So for me to go Jamaica, I get 200 US for myself. Good thing my little 9-year-old daughter went. I say, well, she going to give me 200 US for she. Imagine in Trinidad and Tobago, of oil and gas, milk and honey, we can't get US because the PNM has decimated the economy, decimated the health system, decimated water, decimated roads. When it drizzles, it flood. And now we embarrass ourselves with our red, white, and black because PNM don't care. They have a minister who don't care, and the cabinet don't care. And we have to turn on our TV, and it's only red, white, and black getting licks. We just normally share licks. We just beat people. We are the country of boxing world champions. We are the country of cyclists, of Olympic medalists. We are the country of sweet soca and we have to get excited. Not cutting you across. Vote for that? Nah, man, all you're wicked.
Not cutting you across, but now we are the country that they speak about our uniform, and they put up memes on Facebook saying that Trinidad and Tobago minding their own business, they're not meddling. Wow. That's the kind of things we had to face. Embarrassment.
Yeah. Huh? So Anil, all these facilities that the UNC has built, the aquatic center and the cycling velodrome and all these things, what's going on with them now?
Well, they're there and they're being utilized sparsely, but the PNM has no clue how to sell it, how to use it. That aquatic center was supposed to generate between November 27th and January 13th through foreign people using it. Should have generated upwards of $3 million US, so that the entire year it could be that pay for the whole maintenance, and then all the children, all the primary school children could utilize it for free. The UNC under Kamla Prasad Bisesa was going to a position that swimming must be mandatory for every child under 8 years old. Every holiday we hear about somebody drowning by the beach, by the river, down the island somewhere in a country surrounded by water. That is intolerable. The PNM just does not care. All they go do is tell you, we fail. Hey, all they don't look at we fail, but we black, vote black. Well, let me tell the PNM, all are we in Trinidad and Tobago black, and we bleed the same blood, red, and we want to see red, black, and white perform. So we have to get rid of the PNM.
All right, well thank you. Well said, Anil.
Well said.
That's it for our time, and we want to thank you so much for coming and give us all this wealth of knowledge and giving us an insight of what went on and why sports is failing in our country. I want to thank you so much, my brother. I know I can call on you in the future for any other form of information. Okay? Thank you so much.
Have a great show, and to all your listeners, have a great day. Be very safe. Take care of one another. God bless.
All right, man. Thank you
very much.